much, ladies and gentlemen, for still being part of this session. To those that are watching the recording, we really appreciate you for being part of this session. And to those that have been part of this session, thank you so much. And without wasting time, over to you, Dr. Gous.
Thanks, Tumelo. Thank you. All right, so now that you can see me, so this is what we're doing in this unit 4 is we're enhancing the functionality of our robots using passive attachments. So we're not programming these attachments. It's just going to be functional passive attachments. So if you can, example, if you have a robot, which Tumelo showed you, if that goes over a whole lot of jelly tots, it's going to go over the jelly tots. What you actually want is a bumper. Are you going to show us? All right. So if you put the robot down, can you see the jelly tots will go under the robot, and that's not going to help much if we want to collect as many robots as jelly tots as possible. So what you'll build is a bumper like that to gather as many jelly tots as possible. Okay, jelly tots are one of my favorites. All right. In the same way, if you want to go through a whole lot of ping pong balls, same robot, you would put a bumper like that as a plow to go through a whole lot of jelly tots if you don't want to pick them up. Okay, so all the passive attachments are really what you could add, just put onto your robot that's not programmed, but that has a functionality. So example, if you have a loop and you want to pick it up, you would have like a 3-pronged fork or something to be able to pick it up and take it with you. This is a gated attachment. So if you didn't have the gate on, if you just had this outer rim and you had it like that, if your robot goes forward and then puts it on, oh, there we go. That's a powered attachment because it's attached to your motor there. All right. So this is the difference. What Tumelo has there is the powered attachment because it's attached to a motor. What we're doing today is just passive attachments. That one of Tumelo's can be programmed. What we're doing today is the things that cannot be programmed. Thanks, Tumelo. Okay. All right. So this would be if you needed to collect something. Again, if you want to collect something like that, you put the gate on. If you go forward, you go over the stuff and you want to bring it back. So then the gate will lift up, go over the stuff, and then when you come back, it locks. It's got these little locks on the side. Okay. And again, with this one, if you look at this attachment, so this part will be attached to your robot, and you'll put some stuff on top there. And then if you knock into something, that's the pivot point, and it'll tip over. And yeah, so we have a whole lot of these diagrams, thanks to Casper and Tumelo, and they will be appearing shortly in our 11-language dictionary, which we're going to publish soon. Okay, so let us proceed with the presentation.
Thank you.
Excellent. All right. So we have got, we've come to Unit 4. Well done to everybody who's been from Unit 1 with us on the M1 journey. And so the one thing we do need to have is an engineering design process. It doesn't just happen like this. And so it's part of why we encourage you to build from building instructions. Build initially from building instructions. And then we use that as we go along to build upon, okay, and design upon. And I always say diagrams, drawings, sketches, you don't need to be an artist to draw things, but you do need to have an idea. Your hands are also quite good with art. You know, what are you trying to do? You're trying to do this, or this, or this, or lift it up. And with the whole design process, draw and know what you have, and then modify what you do, where you want to go. All right. So welcome to Unit 4. We're going to do the engineering design process because it is important to know that there's a process. It's not just these attachments don't just happen, that you need to design them, because you need to design them according to the problem that you have. All right. We'll do passive attachments today, and we'll doing the powered or motorized, which Tumelo also showed you. Those attachments we're going to tackle in Unit 3 of M2. All right. And then I'm going to show you a whole lot of resources that we have for designing and building attachments, and then how do we go from there. All right. So just to take a step back, in your syllabus document on M1, Unit 4 is about the engineering design process. So there are a number of steps, okay? You need to first understand where you are, okay? But for building and for programming. And so I'm encouraging you, when you go onto with your learners, let them write it down. What do you need to build? how do you need to program, and then how do you bring the two? Okay, and there are always constraints. It's too heavy, too light, too small, too long, too tall. It's about a time. What are the risks? Are you going to let it drop? Are you going to bring it home? And so there's all these things that need to be considered when you do the engineering design process. I know in the beginning it sounds almost too easy, but remember, we're trying to develop habits, good habits. And so that is where we're going with this. All right. So there's always the goal. There's always the goal, and that's what your solution is. All right. And you don't just get there. So you have to ask, what is actually the problem? Okay. Have other people done it? And so yeah, it's a very good idea sometimes to watch a whole lot of videos and to see how have other people done it. That's not necessarily to say how you must do it, okay? But to get some ideas of how other people have done it. And really to discuss it, to use your hands, to understand what your robot must do, but then what are the constraints for your robot? Okay, then you can start imagining what are some of the solutions, how could it work? And then in a team, please, teachers, educators, coaches, do not tell the learners what the best idea is. They need to choose it. All right. And then when you start planning, draw a diagram, make a list of the pieces you need, the components you need, and then put it all together. And then you've got to start creating something. Okay. And there's no guarantee that your first creation is going to be the final creation. All right. I shudder. I really shudder when I have teams of learners coming to a robotics competition, and I ask them, is this the first robot you designed? They say yes. It can't be. You need to be ongoing. You need to always test and improve. Remember, this is a journey, exploration, always making it better. All right. And then you have to improve. What works? What doesn't work? How can you modify it? Can it go faster? Can it go slower? More effective, more efficient? Okay. And so this whole process needs to also be documented. It doesn't help a hit and run situation. And at the very least, I think every team needs a little exercise book and what we did every day in the robot. Tell me the journey of your robot and how did it develop. All right. All right. So when you apply your engineering design process, you need to remember that you may need to modify. Whatever you've built might need to be modified. It's one of those things. Okay, so first of all, you design your robot attachment and the robot. So you have a basic robot, and then you design the attachments that go onto the robot. Okay. And usually there are several attachments that could be possible, and you have to design, or your team needs to choose which one is best. Okay. But right as the focus, the whole core or foundation of everything is, you need to consider what the verb is. What must your robot do? Must it push something? Must it pull something? Must it collect something? Must it deliver something? Must it lift or drop? Or is it fetching? Okay. So number one, kids need to know what verbs are, because that's what the robot has to do. And that will guide you on what attachment you're going to build for your robot. What do you have to do? All right. Again, I just need to reiterate, these are just passive attachments, no extra programming. It's just attached to your robot, and the powered attachments we're going to do in M2. All right. All right. So imagine I've got to drop something into a bucket. Okay. So I have built this trigger. This is my trigger attachment to drop. It has to drop. You've got to drop the ball into the bucket. So if the robot goes forward, then when the trigger touches the side of the container, all right, it's going to move forward. That trigger is going to touch it. And then what's going to happen to the ball? It's going to fall into. All right. So we're dropping it. Remember, no extra programming. Okay. Again, here we've got a gate with a gather without the gate. All right. So we've got a gathering attachment, but it doesn't have a gate. So if you move forward, you can push something. You can push those Duplo blocks. You can push them. All right. And you can move it forward. But also, we can go forward and then bring it back. So if we go forward, where's my thing? Okay, we can bring it back. All right, again, and you'll notice that here is an attach. This is how you attach it to your robot with pins. All right, you can add a gate, and this is the gate that I was telling you about, where you can add a gate where you can go forward, you can go over the blocks, and once it's in, then it's locked, and then you come back. Now, it might be that those blocks are taller than this thing. Then you make the whole attachment higher. If you want to do it for maybe a hockey ball, you'll probably make it narrower and taller. If you make it for a bottle, yeah, you see that's where you modify designs, and that is where we want our learners to be. Okay, so here are some of the other passive attachments. The bumper is straightforward. This is the bumper. That's a straightforward bumper, it just pushes, all right? But the bumper can be either V-shaped this way or convex or concave, depending whether you're gathering or separating, okay? Then there's the fork, if you want to gather something with a loop on it. This is a carabiner, and a carabiner is a really cool, because you're going to go over it and you're going to hit it on. So if you have the carabiner, it'll click over here, and that black thing, that black beam there will fall down, and so it'll hold on to your loop. And so that's a really effective, if you can build, and the learners need to be able to build carabiners, build a carabiner, build a fork, build a bumper. It's a game you can play in class. Everybody chooses from a random bucket of things, of models to build, and they must build all these attachments. And the more they build, the better they get at it. Okay, there's our pivot. Okay, again, the pivot where this is attached to the robot. This is the pivot. This is the pivot point. All right. But a really handy attachment to have without having to use one of your motors. And you'll see that when you start building your robots, your motors are really the scarce resource. So if you can save your motors for other powered attachments, all the better. Okay, there's your gated gatherer. So there's the sides of it, and there's your gate, and then it'll go forward and it'll lock. All right. There's the hook. There's a single hook to pull it in. Delivery box. The delivery box, you can deliver ping pong balls or oodles of noodles or whatever. Okay. Again, your bumper, your plow. So it either goes that way or that way, depending on how. And obviously, you've got to be able to gather as much as possible and close to the ground so it doesn't go under the robot. All right. So when you design your attachments, okay, there's either following the building instructions or there's just brainstorming and designing your own. All right. Please all start with explanation so that you ensure that the learners actually know what they have to do. It's a clear task. Build the fork from these building instructions. Build it as it's straightforward. Apply the existing knowledge that you already have. All right. And you are expanding the knowledge. I think in this case, what you're doing is you have a building instruction, okay? And then you push the learner. Say, okay, so modify it like this or modify it the other way. Once you've passed the explanation phase, and you've got to be kind to your learners, you understand it as well, then only do you go over to the exploration, okay? Then you start building attachments kind of out the box. Then you'll have some learners coming with really cool attachments. Remember we said it definitely expands creativity, and they would have a knowledge of what's already invented, okay? Please give your learners time to develop the skills, and B, encourage them to put their designs into like Bricklink Studio so that they can actually put the designs and keep the designs and be proud of what they've created, and then be able to share that. I would love for the M1 site to become a hub of sharing designs, sharing ideas, sharing your lesson plan. So we are going to upload lesson plans for M1 for all the units, but those are just examples. All right. And so what we encourage you to do is share your stuff, show us what you can do. And if everybody designs their attachments in Bricklink Studio, and we can put it as a repository, I think where we can go. All right. So if you look in your syllabus, which is the M1 overview document, there are, in Unit 4, there are 7 objectives. So you've got to build a bumper, you've got to build a delivery box, a motion trigger, a box and trap, a sweep, a hook, single or multiple, and then a carabiner. Build it. All right. So those are your objectives. And then to program, you've actually got to use it. All right. So you have to program attach your bumper to your robot and then push. So you push with a delivery box or a bumper. All right. You dump with a motion trigger or drop with a motion. You collect with a box trap. You collect with a sweep. You hook with a hook or you hook with a carabiner. Okay, so, but you have to do it. It doesn't help me just explaining to you or to Mello demoing to you. You actually have to do it. All right, and so there's a whole lot of activities in Unit 4. So you've got to push with a bumper, but the programming might require additional power. Why? Because if you push an empty water bottle and if you push a full water bottle, there'll be a difference. Okay, and then of course if you put an incline, I love having inclines, and you can easily build an incline with a piece of cardboard box, all right, and make the robot go up. And see, that's a really cool challenge that you have. You can build an incline like that, and you have to push it up, and the robot that gets the empty water bottle the highest, you must make little marks on your incline. Then you get, yeah, just see whose robot can go the furthest. Push with the delivery box, all right? Push the delivery box. The whole thing of a delivery box is it mustn't touch the wheels. Okay, remember that this is a delivery box and it's loose, all right? So maybe you need a bumper first for the delivery box, but the delivery box can go all over. So maybe you need a gathering thing to hold the delivery box down that's there, and then if you pull it off, then your box stays behind. Okay, dumping with a motion trigger. It has to be the right height. You have to make sure that this actually hits the side of your bucket and that this falls into it. And of course, the speed. These are all your risks, all your constraints for your activities. All right, let us know. All right, collect with a box trap. Collect with one of these. All right, collect with one of these where it closes on the items. It might need to be taller. Okay, and then with a sweep, so you can have a power. Does your robot actually have enough power? And my favorite one with a sweep is 2 slabs of chocolate. You can have the 2 slabs of chocolate if you go and fetch it and bring it back, but it has to stay on top of each other. It's a cool thing to do. I know with the bumper and the Easter eggs, that is always a fun thing. You buy a whole box of Easter eggs, these marshmallow Easter eggs. Yeah, and then the robot goes over the Easter eggs, and it's usually quite a mess. But it's a lot of fun, and you will get your learners to quickly understand that there are constraints. All right. And of course, if you go too fast, you go over them. Anyway. All right, hook with a hook. Okay, so I must just tell you that if you hook with a hook, you've got to be pretty accurate, and you must approach the item slowly. It's this is where accuracy counts, especially if you have a single-pronged hook. Yeah, like a fork, it might go easier. And the carabiner is a really cool attachment that every learner should be able to do like this. You need to be able to hook with a carabiner. It stands you in good stead for all robotics competitions. There's always a carabiner. What we will do when we get to powered attachments, there's a grabber that lifts and throws. The learners just need to be able to know how to do that. And that's where that repetition comes in, where we learn, and then we explore. All right. And there are building instructions, but the carabiner, there are building instructions. Okay. So designing your attachments. I know we focus on Bricklink Studio. Maybe we should stick with Bricklink Studio. But there's two ways of doing this. All right. So the one way is you can design it first, and then you build it. But if your learners have really cool designs, I'm really encouraging you, please let them create it, reverse engineer it, put it on Bricklink Studio, and then share it with the community. We would love to know what you're doing. All right. As always, I need to give reference for the amazing reading that I have been able to do. And so there's a book called Winning Design, and Winning Design has got the robot kind of the next level up, where we've got a framework. It makes great reading, by the way. Your framework of beams that has pins, where it allows you to attach your passive attachments. Okay, so the focus of this is the difference between passive attachments and powered attachments. And if you can get a copy, even if it's the EB3 Winning Designs, I know there's one on the internet for download, the PDF version. It makes a good read just to understand where you're going to and why we do what we do. read it like a novel. It's really good. But it's I have 2 winning designs. I have the previous version as well. The previous version is falling apart. That's how much I've used it. But this is the winning design for EV3 is really good. And somebody has to write the Spike Prime winning design. Okay. Also on that, this Yoshimitsu Ishigawa, he has a whole range of books. And now I need to say that, I don't know who told me, I don't know whether it was Casper or Sylvia. He has a website where you can download the books. And so that, remember I said, getting kids just to build models, just to build attachments. He has got some really cool ideas, and there's a whole lot of different contraptions and simple machines, and I'll share that with you now. But these are I know most of these are powered attachments, because I see you can see there's a motor attached to it, and there's some gearing, which we'll get to in M2. But for this, it's definitely a good idea to get your learners to build attachments. All right. And if you download it and you just leave it on the screen, you don't have to print it. Maybe let them choose a random number and everybody gets to build an attachment just for the fun of it. I'll show you what it looks like inside now. All right, just to recap, passive attachments, no additional power of motors or programming required, okay? But it allows your robot to push, pull, sweep, drop, collect, the verb. It's the verb, it's the verb, it's the verb. And it's one thing you take from today, it's the verb. Understand what your robot must do, all right? And there are constraints. Is it tall? Is it small? Is it heavy? Is it light? A lot of fun. I know you get those 2-minute noodle bags. That's also fun to push. But push a fruit, push an apple, push a banana, get your whole lot of learners to push the fruit into the bowl, all right, over a line. And everybody's got to push a banana, apple, and orange, different fruits, all right? The orange will probably roll. The grapes might need a box, okay? The banana is an odd shape to push that. I don't know whether you're going to get that right, but send us some videos. Robots making fruit salad, or yeah, just with passive attachments. Maybe that's a good activity for next. That's a good activity for next week. All right, and it should be easy. And this is coming back to, you need to be able to change your attachments on your chassis. So it needs to be able to pin on to the robot. Now I don't have the robots here with me, but it's usually just a pin that pushes in and attaches to the robot. Yeah, it must be easy to pin. And then I've given you examples of bumpers, plows, containers, hooks, forks, carabiners, plows. I've said plow. That's the wrong spelling, not plow. All right. How do you design and build? There is on EV3 lessons, there is a whole lesson on passive attachments, which you can download. Really good, cool stuff. And then attachments for robotics competitions, there is a video, which you're welcome to use. But here's now the other side of it. And so what you want your learners to do is to be able to identify what is passive and what is powered. Okay. And so maybe an idea would be to give them maybe some videos to watch and say, spot the passive attachments. So you know what their passive attachments are, but spot them. Tell us where you see. Do you see that the learners have used, or the teams have used on their robots? Where have they used passive attachments? And then we come to M2, they'll say, okay, so where have you used powered attachments? Right. There's our robots. Now it's time to build attachments. All right. And on that happy note, I'm going to stop sharing now, and I'm going to open the floor for any comments. Any comments, any sharing, apart from the fact that everybody wants to go and build now. Anybody want to share something? It really is an art to be able to build attachments and design attachments and to put attachments onto robots, like this one here. This one I asked them to build for me during a workshop, and this is my 2 little boys. They were 8 years old when they started, where they were my wise men. And so when they did the workshop with me the other day, I said to them, just build me one quickly. But these have been modified and used in competitions and modified again. And I think that's the cool thing about these attachments. All right, over to you, gentlemen. Are there any questions?
Yes, we've got a question from Mabi Ketlo.
Yes.
My goodness, I did not waste my time at all with this session. I'm so excited. Oh my God. Ah, yeah. I am so happy because I've been doing like robotics and for some time now, and I was always struggling with certain things like, what does this mean? Why do other people do this? And who told them to do that? What is this? And what is that? I mean, like these sessions right here have answered almost every question. And it's amazing because you have done this with the small robot, and I am used to test tech challenge and FRC.
All right.
And I can see now a lot of things are making sense, right now. Like I can see why I really hated programming. You have made it so easy. Right now I feel like I could build and build and build and build and build. Thank God I'm not at work because I broke my 2 hands and a foot. Oh my God, I was going to build so much, but then I'll be back to work next. So this is interesting.
Thank you. Sure. Okay, we've got one converted. Awesome. Well done. Yes, and I think that's what you've just hit it on. You need to have the learners to be able to build and experiment and build and build and build. And so I often, well, when I used to be in class, and unfortunately I don't have any schools at the moment, but really to get the learners to build an attachment, build an attachment, build an attachment. Then I would start the lesson and say, build one of these. And then we would say, okay, so now dump it into a bucket, which is maybe yay high, and then build it, into a flat container. But then this is not going to work. Then they've got to extend this. And how do we make it change it? One year we had a passive attachment with ping pong balls, except that there's two types of ping pong balls, and the cheaper ones bounced more. So if you went like that, the ping pong ball actually bounced into the bucket and bounced out. So there are all your constraints. You've got to test what you're doing. The heavier, the more expensive ping pong balls, of course, if you went like that, fell in. But the lighter ones, if you go too fast, they bounce out of the bucket. And so, but that is part of the fun of doing robotics. Absolutely. I can totally agree with you. I can see you there. Awesome. And again, the carabiner is a really important passive attachment. Multiple opportunities, multiple uses, multiple applications. Build but one carabiner and then keep modifying it. Keep modifying it, keep changing the design, maybe for a higher, lower, depending on where you attach it. I'm really looking forward to some really cool designs to add to our collection. Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for that. Are there any other chats or questions?
Yes, Dr. Gous, we have one from Ashley that wanted to know about, I wanted to find out for the short course assignment 2, do we need to use a specific robot or can we use whatever robot we have? So this
Sure.
is for the short learning course.
Okay, submit it and just notify there for the markers which robot you have used. That's fine. All right.
And then,
thank you. Thanks, Casper.
Okay, and we also have a question just on the recordings. Yes, the recordings will be uploaded onto the YouTube side later.
Thanks, Casper. Hey, it's good teamwork here.
If anybody has a question at any point now, you can either raise your hand or you can use the chat area.
Are there any chat questions? Miller?
I see there's a chat for Chazimbana.
Mm-hmm.
She's saying that you mentioned the other day that robotics can be applied in different areas, such as art. Are these case studies, or are there case studies of these yet? She asks.
Yes. Okay, now I just got, I can't get onto the, there was a study done and I need to go and find that article. If you email me, I'm happy to share the article with you. So what the article says is that we need to have alternative ways to enter into the robotics field. And so it's very much like encouraging girls into science, but encouraging all age groups into science. And where you are, you need to make it fun. So for the younger ones, you could maybe do, they call them dioramas. So you have a whole story, an art story, and then you make the robot part of your little art story. Or you have an exhibition. So you get learners to create a whole model of their robot, and then not for competition, but just for exhibition. So the exhibition. So you can include the art then into the exhibition. It's definitely one of my passions, and one thing we are trying. One of the case studies that we do have at the moment is Tomelo's Robotics and Environmental Sciences. Okay, so that is where we are using environmental sciences as the domain in which we're introducing robotics. Robotics is being used out there in the real world for the solving of the environmental problems. So we have underwater robots, and we have robots that clean up the pollution in the sea. But as Tumelo was showing you there now, so his attachment was moving the earth. I caught that. So that is environmental sciences and robots. He also has what we call the ocean mat. And I don't know, Tumelo, whether you can go out to your ocean mat quickly. And so what we have as part of our exhibitions is we have the sea. We just have the sea and the beaches on either side. And then we throw a whole lot of plastic lids into the sea. And then the robot needs to go and fetch plastic lids in the sea. And so that is an application then, something different to introduce robotics. It's all about creating hooks for learners to understand robotics and then understand application. But I'm happy to share. And now for the life of me, I cannot. Okay, whilst I'm here, let me just see whether I can Google it. Now, then I can tell you. I'm not on. I'm going to find you the article now. All right, I'm going, because now it's bothering me that I can't remember it offhand. Okay, I'll get back to you. Chisabane, but that's your surname. Chisibane. Oh, Liesel. Okay, that's easier. Hi, Liesel. Let me quickly, let me see whether I can find the article for you whilst our team says what else. What other questions are there?
So there's a question, Dr. Gous, on where can they buy the EV3 set or the Spike Prime at the moment?
Okay, so let me just quickly change. All right. So the EV3 has been retired. So you would probably find retired EV3s on. I'm trying to think, where is it, like a secondhand sale thing, kind of. But if there are any people that want to sell EV3s, I'll buy them up as well, because they're a really cool kit. The Spike Prime is available from Hands On Technologies. They are the Lego education importers in Southern Africa. However, what we can say, I found that my high school has a few WeDo kits. Okay, so Jeshan, I need to talk to you there. The WeDo kits we use for grades 1, 2, and 3. Maybe it's not WeDo kits. Jeshan, can you just unmute yourself and just maybe explain? Jeshan or Jashan Reddy. Okay, you're not unmuting. Is Jashan coming? He's not unmuting. Jashan, maybe you can just chat, put it in the chat area. Okay. Tulani, I think you need to just Google the books. You'll find the PDFs there. All right. Let me just quickly, I'm going to share my screen. Oh my goodness. So this is share. Liesel, this is the book that, the article that I was telling you about, New Pathways into Robotics, Strategies for Broadening Participation. And the whole thing here, and I'm happy to discuss it with you, there, focusing on themes and not challenges, but just themes. And that's where we encourage you to use past robotics challenges as themes in your teaching. So last year's theme for First Lego League was superpowered. And so you can use superpowered as part of your learning as a theme to introduce robotics. And then combining art and engineering, encouraging storytelling where you tell a story with a little robot, and then organizing exhibitions rather than competitions. All right. Did I share that?
Yes, indeed.
All right.
So can I share my ocean map?
There we go. You can put your ocean map. Okay, there we go. Tamella's got, this is his ocean map. And so this is environmental science combined with robotics. This is the sea, and you'll see that the robot has got, there we go. It's got a passive attachment on the front, and it's got to go and collect as many bottle top lids as possible. All right. And out it goes, and then it collects as many and comes back to shore. There we go, all the way to the shore, onto the beach. That's what it has to do. All right. So what we expanded this whole lesson of getting the plastic out of the sea. We also put down little fish. So the fish are yellow, red, and blue. No, yellow, red, and green. So you're not allowed to catch the red fish. So that is part of the environmental sciences. They've got a little booklet out on endangered fish. So then we implement that as a robotics challenge as well. So again, each way is using different things. Just, if you want another, okay. Just gonna go pathways to robotics. There should be a follow-up. I'm sure there's a, and now I need to say, I need to find, that's the name of the article, broadening participation. And the whole idea is to get learners included as often as, or as quick as possible. All right. Tamela, do you want to show again?
All right, I was about to leave, and I see here on the chats, people are looking for this article. Can you kindly please send us an email on I-SET at unisa.ac.za so that we are able to share this article with you. And I see Nontlante Nkabende, she says, can you please, ma'am, tell me how can I go back? She's lost. Oh. You're lost in what, Nontlante? Please unmute yourself so that we can help you. We help people who are lost. We don't like it when people are lost. Kindly unmute yourself, Nontlante. Where are you lost specifically? All right, I see she's not unmuting themselves. So,
so you can see the passive attachment that Tamela has on attached there. So it's wide enough. There we go. There's no motors attached. It's just a passive attachment attached to the front of the robot. And this is going to gather up the lids in the sea. There we go. There we go. And straightforward. But it's part of learning. And so we've got our learners involved in robotics, doing navigation, designing their own passive attachment within the domain of environmental sciences, cleaning the ocean of sea. But it's a way to participate. It's a way to get learners engaged in robotics. Okay. There we go. All right. Casper, do you have any more questions in the chat?
Can you just open the chat for us? Yep, not at the time. If anybody has a question, please feel free to either put it into the chat area or to raise your hand. Yeah, Dr. Gous, I don't see anything at the moment from my side.
All right. I just want to get back to the question about Jesh and Reddy. If you would like to kickstart your robotics at your school and you would like to loan a Spike Prime, please send me an email, especially if you already have some kits. Let's see what we can do. Okay. Please just send it to I-SET. I'm sure the I-SET email was on here. All right. Yeah. All right. There are no other questions? Oh, wow. Thank you, Casper. That was quick. And Tomelo has changed position again. You're muted.
I see we don't have any questions. So
we're all good.
Would like to thank our participants for being part of these sessions. Really appreciate it. For those who are here since last week, we really appreciate it. I hope now you understand the link from robotics software, introduction unit 1 and 2, to unit 3 and 4, how the combination is like. And you also understand the M1 unit 1, 2, as well as which we did yesterday, as well as the M1 unit 3 and 4. So like I've indicated, these presentations are very helpful and they are very enlightening. So this can help you with your studies in terms of your M1, M2, M3, and M4, as well as these can help when it comes to your short learning programs, because some of the questions are answered as well. And these can help you as well for your DBE 001 and 2, so that you are able to, know where to go to, because if you are struggling, we are here to help you. So that's our email address there. And please don't hesitate to send us an email. And yes, and for those of you who would like to enroll for the MOOC course, don't hesitate as well to enroll for the MOOC course. If you are struggling, send us an email. And we have a session on Friday, which is called Questions and Answers. So this session is just a guide of the newly registered participants, as well as the current participants that have problems regarding their MOOCs. So these can be, for example, perhaps where to find specific assignments, perhaps where to find a certain link. And if you are just having those troubleshoot issues, definitely that session covers such. And it's a guide as well, just to, keep track of your studies. For example, if you're busy with study unit 1 this week and you find some technicalities, you simply let us know, and then we'll take it from there, and we'll definitely be in touch with you. I see we don't have any hands at the moment, and on our chat box as well. So there are some few announcements as I've announced yesterday. For those of you who'd like to firstly visit the UNISA Science Engagement Center, kindly please make use of the email address. Send us an email requesting to come, perhaps to make use of the robots, or to perhaps challenge yourself with some few missions that you might have. That's number 1. Number 2, we have campus visits as well. So if you'd like to bring along your nice buddies or your students, you can send us an email again requesting to come to the campus. We also do campus tours after having a session with you. That's number 2. Number 3 is that for students that are currently enrolled in I-SET Robotics 2023, M1, M2, M3, and as well as M4, which will be launched next month, as well as for students that are currently enrolled for the short learning programs and would like to make use of the robots and you don't have access to them, please note that we are a library of robots, of robotics. So you can even come the side of the country to make use of these assignments and complete them. And for those of you who cannot come to Gauteng, the good news is that we'll be going to KZN end of the month. We'll certainly confirm that with you. Please ensure that you are part of our mailing list so that you are updated regarding our trips. And I think that will be also helpful for those of you who are far from the country who would like to, make use of such. And for those of you who are in Pretoria, next week we're going to Hammanskraal. No, sorry, we're going to Mamelodi.
No.
We're going to Mamelodi at Walter Sisulu Environmental Education Center. So feel free to come and experience how we conduct workshops. Perhaps you can learn 1 or 2 things, and as well as teach us 1 or 2 things. And again, for those of you who'd like to learn how or observe how the competitions are, especially for those who will be at KZN, especially in the Richards Bay side of the country, we'll be having competitions on the 3rd and the 4th of March. Otherwise, I see we don't have any. Oh, there's a question here saying any visits planned for Cape Town? Yes. Definitely yes. It's a big yes. So we're just confirming our dates yet, and we'll certainly let you guys know. I see the chat box is busy on the side of the chat, the platform, but really would like to say thank you so much. We are UNISA Science Engagement Center. Please don't hesitate to email us. Otherwise, if you have anything, Dr. Host.
No, I'm good. I'm happy. So it's Mamelodi next week, and the following week is Pietermaritzburg.
Definitely.
And then Empangeni for the competition on the 4th of March. And that's a kind of where we are planned. We've got a whole lot of stuff in the pipeline, and we will share it. We share the schedules on the MOOC portals. And I'm hopefully, I see we missed 1 WhatsApp group, but on most WhatsApp groups, we share the schedule. So if you do have it, you're welcome to share it on the WhatsApp group as well. All right. And we will definitely visit Cape Town soon. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much to get host Casper. And for those who'd like to get our recordings, please visit our social media pages. Casper has already shared our Facebook page as well as our YouTube page. That's where we get our recordings as well. Without wasting time, I would like to say thank you so much to everyone who's been faithful to these learning lessons. And thank you. It's bye from us. Thank you from Minister.
M2 starts the 6th of March.